So you started in rentals, and I think a lot of people actually start, kind of just taking whatever they can get. When you made that transition from rentals to selling, how did you make that transition? How are you meeting people? I too was not from Arizona when I started my real estate career. So I started my career by doing 100 open houses in a year. Everyone has like their thing that they're willing to do, but like, what did you do? Were you taking company leads? How did that work to get it off the ground and make that transition from rental to, the 200-ish place to now 31.5? But like the early days, what were you doing in order to drive your business?
Yeah, I was offering to help like everyone and anyone. Joining a team, I think definitely was helpful for me because I think a lot of the people who, of course, you see Ryan Serhant, so many people reached out to him, which I get, he's like, I ignored you for 2 years because I get emails all the time. But so many people would want to join the team and then they're like, we're ready. Like, give us the listings now. We're like, ready to go. And he's like, no, like, I'll show you the way, but you have to do it yourself. And that's what I was excited about. Like, I was like, I don't need handouts. Like, I want to learn the business and do it myself. So joining the team for one, I think is huge. Having a mentor is huge because you get your real estate license and you're like, well, what do I do now? Like, what does this mean? Like, you still don't know the business at all. So
I love that about licensing. It's like, I literally don't know how to do anything still. I'm really glad I have this license now.
Like, no clue. So joining a team, that was huge for me. And then with the people among the team or people at the company, like I was like, can I host an open house for you? Can I come with you and be the door opener and just watch you and how you speak to people and how you show the properties? Can I wait in the lobby and greet people as they're coming in? Like literally, I was that person. Everyone was like, you were so helpful. And then they're more willing to teach you and they're more willing to share like, I'd be like, can I be on the emails when you're responding back to the sellers or when you're submitting offers, like just seeing what other people do. That was huge for my business. And that's when I really began to like understand, like, I think it's great to start from the bottom of like learning the rentals and then like stepping, working your way up.
I love that. I'm like taking notes here because offering to help anyone. I think a lot of people, think like, oh, I'm going to drain this brokerage or I'm going to buy leads from, X, Y, or Z, or I'm going to join a team that gives me leads and everything. But like, there is really no substitute that getting that like first on the job training.
Yes.
And sometimes, you got to offer your labor for free in order to get that experience. I think that's a really good lesson on figuring out how to get the right mentorship. So obviously you've been working with Ryan for a large portion of your career. What type of, aside from, what we see on the outside, obviously you have a close relationship. What type of mentorship, who are you looking to for coaching and mentorship now? Is it still Ryan? Do you have another bench of people that you're relying on today?
Yeah. So it's coming up on 8 years this October, which is crazy, of just working with Ryan. So clearly, he's amazing or I wouldn't still be there. And he still is a huge mentor for me. I now have a team of 5 agents. I have 1 assistant, because, my building, real estate on the mind. My business has expanded so greatly, which I'm so grateful for. So I have a team. Ryan is pretty much like, we're on like pick up the phone, call, text pretty much every day. So I'm still always learning from him. And also I have like newer agents on my team that I just am mentoring and I'm learning from them all the time as well. I have a few agents who have come over from a different company, a different team. I'm learning from them all the time. So I think just being out and about, having a good reputation within the real estate business in New York is huge. I'll share ideas with other team leads. We'll kind of like, share things back and forth. I think that's so important in our industry, is having a good reputation to be able to help others who are at other brokerages, who are on other teams. And I think that's something that I do pretty well. People were like, hey, Talia, I have a question with this deal. Like, what would you do? And then so they do the same thing for me.
This episode is sponsored by Follow Up Boss. And I know you, Justin, and Lindsay both know that I made the switch about a year ago to Follow Up Boss from being in one CRM for the last 13 years.
I read a stat the other day that 32 of the top 50 teams in the United States use Follow Up Boss already. So, I guess the proof's in the pudding there.
So whether you have a super team like George or a mini team like me, Follow Up Boss makes it super easy for teams of all sizes to get organized, stay on top of their leads and spheres with less effort, and improve overall performance so you can scale your business.
And thanks to FUB, all of our listeners can double their free trial and get a full 30 days to see how Follow Up Boss can level up your business. And there's no contract necessary, no credit cards required, completely free to give it a go. So visit followupboss.com/inspection period for more details. And thanks, Follow Up Boss, for making this possible. Well, and that's like pretty important in New York, right? Like, because like you guys don't have a centralized MLS. Most people don't know that, but like you guys don't have a centralized MLS like we do in Arizona, for example. So you like, really have to know other people in order to understand.
You have to know other people. You're sharing off-market properties with other people. And there are people who are like, I do not want to deal with this person or ever do a deal with them. They're like a horror. I would never work with them. And then they just shut them out. And that's like never a position you want to be in. So yes, having a good reputation is huge.
So I feel like a lot of agents go through this journey of where like I'm a solo agent and then like, should I start a team? Like, what do I do? How did you know you were ready for a team? What was your kind of objective when you started the team? How's that going for you? So I should clarify, I started a team and sunsetted a team and now restarted a team. So
interesting. Oh, I'd love to hear about that. But okay, so to answer your question, so I was previously on it was called Serhant Team at another company. And I was like, I was scared to leave. I was scared because I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was leaning on Ryan so much. But he's like, you know, at some point you are doing really well. You need to like kind of go off and do your own thing. So manifesting, timing, everything worked out. He left that company. He started his own brokerage, Serhant, 4 years ago. And he's like, of course you're coming with me. I was like, perfect, great. And then I was like, okay, it's just me as a solo agent. And he was saying, you know, you've gotten to a point where you just can't take on everything. Like, yes, I get that you want to do the rentals and you want to do the lower sales and you want to do Brooklyn and you want to do Manhattan, but he's like, you can't spread yourself so thin that you're just like dropping the ball on things. So the biggest lesson was when he said that, because I was like, I do feel like I'm like trying to do it all. And my clients are like, well, can you do these open houses? And you have 10 listings and you can't be everywhere at once. So that was the lesson. You know, when you feel like you're dropping the ball, when you feel like you have so much going on and you are able to use someone else as leverage, like that's when you should bring on another team member. Also, I didn't do it this way, but he was like, first, he said this after the fact, first bring on like an assistant to help with like the paperwork, with the contracts, with the emails, and then bring on another like show agent or junior agent. So I did a junior agent first, then an assistant, but either way, it all worked out. I have a team who helps leverage my business. So I have someone who like, you know, they do the rentals. I have someone who does higher end rentals. I have someone who focuses on Brooklyn townhouses. And then I'm running around trying to generate leads and feed them.
Okay, so you're more of the rainmaker position within the team now of doing kind of the prospecting, money generation activities, and then you're kind of delegating that out to your team. That's your structure today?
Yeah.
Awesome. How are you enjoying it?
I love it. I love it so much. I feel like, you know, when I interview people, which I get a lot of people who are like, I want to join your team because you're everywhere and you're great. And again, you know, a good reputation of people hearing like you really help your team and you really want them to succeed. So I say to them like, yes, it's the Talia McKinney team, but like, I want you to succeed. I want to teach you everything I know. Because I know a lot of team members or team leads are like, well, if I tell them this, then they're going to go off and then they're going to be on their own and then they're going to start their own team. But it's like, you can't really be concerned with that. And so I think that is huge for my team. Like, we really just feel that you're always available. You want us to do well. If they go off and do their own thing, then so be it. You know, it was nice while it lasted, but I really want us to feel like a team. We're super supportive. We're super collaborative. Like, we all help each other. And I think that's hard to find in New York, especially because everyone's kind of like cutthroat and out for themselves. But I'm like, I want us all to do well together.
That's amazing. I think that's hard to find in most markets, just so you're aware.
I was going to say
but
that
New York
too,
is probably, when I think of New York, like probably a little more cutthroat than most markets. At least that's what I envision. But there was a lot of great stuff there, Talia. I think, you know, as you transition from being the solo agent to being a team leader, like you had this big like mindset of abundance. And being willing to share and give. And I've always felt like, I've always questioned the team leaders that don't do that don't pour into their agents. Like that was an option not to pour into them. So yeah, I think that's amazing. I also think like a key point too of when you made the shift, there's a lot of things that can trigger that. but one of those, like, you had more opportunities than you could take.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you had more to give, right? Like you had something to give and something to share, and bringing people into that. And then also having a mindset of abundance, like that creates a really amazing team leader. I think that's like part of the recipe besides your other amazing attributes, which is like resilience, hard work, all those amazing things that you do. Like, it really is like, you've created a balance through that. And so I'm just curious, like, besides starting a team, I look at the things that you do, running marathons, travel, and all this. Like, do you sleep 2 hours a night, or how the heck?
I know everyone's like, so how do you balance?
Like, how do you balance?
I was like, balance, I wouldn't say I necessarily have, but I will say, yes, but I will say, you know, I'm in a position where I enjoy everything that I'm doing. Like, I like to be busy. I like to be checking emails at night on date night with my husband. No, but in seriousness, like I love my job and I appreciate my job. But then for me, like, I could stay home on a Saturday and relax and rest, but what fuels me is to go out and run with Erwin, who's blind, and help him train for a marathon. Like that's something that brings me joy. You know, traveling. I've been now to, I think it's 43 countries now and counting. And yes, I can take a week off and, you know, relax in the city. Would I do it? Probably not. But that's something, again, that fuels me. That's something that I'm super passionate about. So I like to be busy. I feel, you know, life is life, and I just like to live it to the fullest. And I think I do that pretty well. Yeah. I just like enjoy being busy and doing things. And I'm so grateful for where I am.
Yeah. You strike me as a person that probably hasn't really like felt like you've worked a day in your life. Like you just enjoyed what you're doing. Right. And it's like the burners of life too. When people talk about balance, like it's hardly ever balanced. I think it's like you're turning one burner up, whether that's travel, you're turning one down, and we're just like, you're just wired to go. Right. Which is amazing.
What's that old thing Paul Graham said from, he's like the godfather of VC at Y Combinator. He said the crux to being successful in life is finding the thing that everybody else feels like is work, but it's play to you, basically. Like find the thing that is that. And it seems like you found that in your life. It's
interesting. I was at an event yesterday and they're like, you've been in the business 10 years and you sound like you've been in the business for like a year. Like you just sound so excited talking about real estate.
Totally. Usually 10-year-old agents are like, oh my God.
You're energizing me. I'm like, this is amazing. I've been in 18 years and I'm like, oh man, this is awesome.
Every day is different. I love my clients. I mean, there are great deals. There are bad deals. There are sucky, you know, sellers, owners, things, but I just think it's all part of the business. And that's what I love. I just love it.
And as a reminder, Inspection Period listeners get a full 30-day trial of Club. No contract, no credit card required. Just go to followitboss.com/inspection period for more details.